There's a lot of questions about omni-channel. So point 6 out of 7 is embracing omni-channel marketing. Now, the older thinking, I mean, when I studied marketing in university, it was very like pick a channel and stick with it and throw everything at it. And today, it's evolved too much. There's too many channels. There's too many social media platforms where people are like, look at your phones. Like if everyone just looks at their phones and they can see, do you hesitate between opening Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google? Like you just look at everything, even Amazon, eBay, they're all channels. And so I find that today, the best form of marketing is one where you not just spread your message to the key choices that, like Kristen said, it's not just everything. It's picking a wide variety of channels and then catering your message to each one is where I find I get the best results for myself and my clients. And it's the post-COVID era is now more than ever is a chance for you to embrace it and say, okay, how can we use Instagram? I know I'm too afraid to try TikTok right now, but there's there's a lot of
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Perfect for just having a dance and see. But there's a lot of like brands that are embracing TikTok and seeing great results. There's a lot of brands that are like, I love LinkedIn. And so I'm using that quite actively. But, you know, there's a lot of, you know, Instagram stories, Snapchat, all those kind of, you know, we talked about Google My Business. You know, let's weigh in. What do people think about omnichannel?
I'd agree. Look, omnichannel to me doesn't mean every channel.
Yeah, I agree.
It means it's effectively adopting a multi-channel approach, choosing the ones that are relative to your business, right? But as importantly, they're relative to your business because they're relative to your audience, okay? And then having a consistency of messaging across those so that when somebody touches your business, doesn't matter how they enter, they have that consistency. Now, what you can do is have a layered approach within that and say, look, within Facebook, we adopt this approach to the way that we tell our story, and we adopt this tone. It is consistent with the way that we market in LinkedIn, but our LinkedIn is just a little bit more formal and it's a bit more directed. So you can have different tones and you can have different approaches, but as long as there's a consistency and those customers or that audience can actually identify with you. So when you're choosing the channels, think about the audience. Don't lose sight of the audience and just say, well, it's my business, I'm just going to put it out there. You've really got to think about who am I trying to target? Are they there? Why are they there? How do they like to be spoken to?
And
that's your
podcasting. Podcasting was what, like Ariel mentioned it before. Is podcasting is a huge, like
it's so intimate, isn't it?
It's
amazingly intimate for a connection with your client.
Because I was already writing a lot of content and producing a lot of content, and I thought people want to listen on the go. And so it's a really, really great opportunity. If any brand is not ready for podcasting, just give it a go. Because it's like I was already writing blogs and I was just voicing them. And it was getting like over 100 listens a day from nothing. Like as in it started there and then it was going up from there. And so for me, I was like, I'm already writing the blogs. I might as well put them into audio form as well. So that's another opportunity to embrace omni-channel. Sorry, I'm still that.
No. I think, but like Kristen said, don't get overwhelmed. You don't want to get overwhelmed by all these channels either, because you just listed, there's so many different social media platforms, so many different business pages, so many different avenues you can go about. And that's where, I mean, it all ties together. It's about that marketing strategy and that brand identity of who are we, who is our audience, where can we reach them the best, and then how do we reach them within those channels. But if you get a good agency and you're creating that content, it's about them being able to know how audience react to the content based on those platforms, and they can infuse the brand and make sure it feels and acts like the brand on all of them while still being uniquely made for that platform. And that doesn't need to be a ton of money, because if you think about it ahead time, you can make sure you're creating that content with that vision in mind. And that's really better if you can than trying to fit one video that was mainly made for YouTube all of a sudden on Instagram and TikTok and all these things, or on LinkedIn. And it just does not, it can really turn your customers off if it feels like you're just putting general messaging out there. So even though it's exciting that there's all these platforms, and I get so excited to tell my clients about all these platforms and go around these approach, we're very careful, and we do a lot of strategy around where are their audience. If you're going to pay that money and you're going to create this, we want people to see it, and
yes,
they want,
that's what it
and
is.
you want them to connect with
Exposure.
it. Yeah. So take the time to figure out which ones are best for you.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's one of the critical questions and considerations for most businesses. You got to think about kind of two aspects of your business in terms of your size and what you have the resources available to do, as well as the marketing funnel. And so when you look at what channel you then want to implement, like the way we sort of approach things, we look at it kind of on that sort of 80-20 principle. You know, what are the channels that we're going to get 80% of the result with 20% of the effort?
Yeah.
You know, because if you went into each individual channel and you became a master and did, you know, Twitter or Facebook or Google Ads, and you went 100% into it and spent all your time and effort and money in that one channel, yeah, you could do extraordinarily well. But how much wastage happens, because to get that last little bit out of each channel requires so much more, extra effort. Whereas if we just focus on doing what, you know, so that was it Tim Ferriss has that minimum sort of threshold that he puts in there in terms of creating that, doing just enough to get an awesome result out of it, and that's it. And then move on, and well, not move on, but embrace other channels and bring those into the mix. And the core decision really is to think about the what we always start with is look at the customer journey and think about where you want to start talking to them, and focus on the areas when you think about, okay, so we all go through that whole process, right? So we have, you know, problem, solution, consideration, decision, right? And so we think about, well, where do we start advertising? How do we market to people? Don't start up in the awareness stage first off. If you're not visible to people at the consideration phase, when they're sort of looking for exactly your kind of service, so if they're doing a search for a copywriter and you're not visible there, you know, there's no point doing all this other stuff here. That's going to cost you a lot of time, effort, and money to get to people. Whereas at the consideration decision stage, they already know what they're looking for. You just need to be in front of them.
Yeah.
So that's where we sort of encourage a lot of businesses to start there, start at that end, and sort of make sure your marketing activities are working really well for you there, and then start to go a bit further up in that the awareness phase. So if you look at your different channels, focus on the ones that do a whole lot of different ones, not just one, not just, you know, 2 or 3 different channels. Look at a whole range, focus on that 80-20 where you get the best results, and do a lot of them.
I'm just mindful of time. We've got 8 minutes left. So I would,
wow.
Did you want to pick up on, I think
that's a really good question. So the question is, being a small one-woman business, is there one channel you would recommend I focus on? So I address this a lot in my marketing classes with GA, and a lot of people say, well, hold on, Chris, you keep saying omni-channel, but like, oh my God, I only have
that's just me.
And I was there. I was there. Now I've got a team. Because people go, oh my gosh, how are you pumping out so much content? But my suggestion to you is start small. Like Ariel said, don't get overwhelmed. I always say in my classes is start small, pick like Kristen said, is that pick a channel where you are going to get the most uptake and it's most consistent with your brand, i.e. usually Facebook, like people who are quite constant on Facebook. Or if you're maybe a service business, maybe LinkedIn, and you start there and you grow there and you start to get a handle on it. And then, as Mike said, is then apply the 80-20 rule, where you say, okay, we've got a good, comfortable spot in Facebook. It's done. We're not 100% there, but it's getting some traction. Now, what would be the next channel? And the next obvious, people often move to, say, Instagram. Is the next evolution there, or Google Plus is Google My Business. Google My Business is a really good place to start as well for if you're a local based business, especially. And so that's how I would approach. Does anyone have a different?
Oh no, look, I tend to agree. I mean, like a business with one person in it, you've got so many demands coming on you, so you can only spend so much time doing your own promotion. I think, as you said, focus on where your audience is, and basically the audience in the way that audience likes to communicate with you, because your audience might be on a number of different platforms, but focus on how they communicate with you. But have a very clear plan at the outset as to how you're going to build it, and set your objectives. So, because if you just start with Facebook, for example, and it starts to work and work well, you will quickly fall into the mindset of, I'm going to stay with Facebook.
Facebook's my channel.
Yeah.
And that is
Yeah.
completely the incorrect approach. You
Yeah.
must get more omni-channel because people will look at you from different angles.
Yeah.
And if they see that you're active on one and completely anonymous on others, from a branding
Yes.
perspective, you'll
That's
lose
a good
immediately.
one.
You'll lose the trust, and then they will just start to question whether you're a real business.
Yeah,
or not,
actually,
you know,
that's
and that's the
amazing.
unfortunate thing. That's the world
Yeah.
we live in now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Tough
mean that
reality.
that also doesn't mean you have to be a global conglomerate today.
And I think
Okay, you can
yeah.
build.
Yeah.
And I think if you're
Yeah.
feeling overwhelmed with you're saying, oh, I still don't really know which platform is mine, the best thing to do is just look at what other brands in your space are doing. I mean, that's what a lot of us agencies
Yeah.
do. You come to us, what's the first thing our team is doing? We're going to look at all your competitors. What are they doing in their space? What are they doing with their marketing? Which platforms are they getting the most activity and engagement on? And you can take all that research and all the years that they've built that and decide, okay, that product's like mine, they're working really well. It seems like a lot of other products like mine are working really
Absolutely.
well on Instagram. So I'm going to start with Instagram and then move to Facebook or whatnot. So that's a really good place to start if you don't know where to select that platform.
Yeah, and
Tip-
just
tip
make
for
sure,
her.
yeah,
I'll just say
just
tip-
make sure you differentiate
Yeah,
as you do
of
it. So don't
course.
just
Yeah.
adopt their story.
Mm.
You know, you've got to still explain why it is you're different and what value you add.
Yeah.
Of course,
But
yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, it was really
fantastic.
good.
It's really good.
And a tip for the person who asked that question, and for everyone who's that one person band, get all your handles anyway. Like all your
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
as in,
yes.
if your business name, go grab even if you're not going to use it, grab Instagram, grab all the platforms, so that if you do expand there, no one's squatting on it.
Yes.
That's a really annoying. Like you don't want to have your proper name on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then you try to go Instagram, you have to have the underscroll. Or
Yeah.
just if you're that, just get them all and then
Yeah.
put them on holds.
Yeah.